Welcome back to Let's Try Iconoclasts. We're at the bottom of the impact crater, and the star worm is just over there. So before I go in, a quick heads up that there's a couple things that I've kind of looked into and learned along the way. Still doing my best not to spoil myself for anything yet to come. And for one, I think to answer a couple questions that people in the comments had about our voyage to the moon, no, you cannot save Royal. Nothing that you do, nothing can be done to do it. You cannot use the usurper gun to swap places with him, and even if you could, the button on the other side of the door is busted, which means Robin would just be trapped inside. On top of that, there's then the crates off to the side as well, which you can't get past. So, I figured as much. I certainly didn't think there was going to be anything mechanical that would let us get through, that would let it happen, but yeah. And that was important, not just for us, not just for, oh, we lost a character that we knew about, that we thought well of, or that was important to us in the story. That was important for Robin. If you'll notice, her idle animation has changed. It's not as bouncy as it was before. And thinking about it now, it wasn't us. I don't think of it that way. It wasn't us that had to kill Royal. It was the star worm. Royal wasn't just wallowing in self-pity. The star worm hit him with that purple shot, which we've seen twice before. Once Mina accidentally used on us, to no effect. Once was used in the ivory tower. And every time we've seen it, aside from when it hit us, what it did was it put them into a depression. It made them hate life. But I think more than anything, it made them hate. It brought all of their failings and their doubts and their regrets to the surface. That is what killed Royal. And did Royal... One could say Royal didn't accomplish anything, but he may have. For one, I don't think he failed. Speaking to the Star Worm, I see the Star Worm as almost some kind of eldritch beast. It doesn't care what we have to say or what's going on. Nothing he could have said or done would have changed its mind. It's got its own plan and its own goals. It was merely drawn over out of curiosity. However, though that plan wouldn't have got us anything, Royal did do one thing. He injured it. Something else I'm going to mention very briefly, I'm going to attempt anyway, is all of the options that we've chosen over the course of this entire game actually matter. They actually have importance. Anytime the little thing comes up and you get to choose 1, 2, 3 options, they actually all mattered. Different choices would raise your relationship, I guess, with the different party members. The 3 of them. And that will affect, though I don't know exactly what it will affect what's coming up here with the Star Worm. And I think there's even a potential to get kind of a scene afterwards, but I'll speak more on that in a moment. But suffice to say, I don't think I've chosen correctly on all of them. I've just kind of chosen. And I have confirmation, anyway, that one of them, perhaps one of the few that, perhaps the one that I cared most about, honestly, is one that I messed up. Which means this is going to affect the ending. Not in a drastic way. Not like, oh no, you save the world, you destroy the world kind of ending or anything. Maybe it'll just maybe be some dialogue here and there, I think. But it will affect the ending. And that means that this is not going to be the ending that I want. And I think it's also not going to be the ending that I want to show all of you. So here's the plan. We can consider this that what I'm showing you is not the best possible outcome. This is not the culmination of our journey, it's simply I'm showing you that this is an average ending, let's say. And though it may take me a little while, so after this series I'm of course going to move on to another series, it may take me a little while, but I do want to show you the true ending. Again, there may not even be much difference. But that's what I'm going. It's what I've decided. I can't breathe for crap. Yep, that's a guy. Some question over if the blue things were infecting him or what, and I'm pretty sure the blue things just are him at this point. That looks like some brain. Yeah, punch him in the face! Oh, well, that's horrible. Huh. I'm not entirely sure. I feel like I'm supposed to be... Ow. Oh, wait. Nope. I saw the flower in the background growing higher, and it's going down, of course. Look, I don't got all the time in the world. I gotta get this stupid flower up. Get up there! Yeah, I did it! So we're facing our own regrets. So that was gonna be Elro. Yeah, we did it! That one didn't even attack back. Was that one maybe Mina's? Oh, and this one is gonna be Royal. I do know they don't attack back. You can see the sunflowers on it. Yeah, they don't attack back if you've maxed them. So I did, in fact, get Royal. Yeah! Like, we had no regrets with them. I don't know what that was. Oh, I'm so pretty. I'm just gonna help everybody. Admittedly, Elro's gotten into kind of a lot of crap because we've kept going out and doing things on our own. I will friggin' do everything. I disagree. Fudge that noise! Yeah, fudge that noise! Yep, that hurt a little. Oh boy. Oh boy. Yeah, obvious weak spot there. I mean, really. Whoa. Man, I'm bad at dodging that one. No, grab it! Dang it! Okay, good. I don't have to do the whole thing again. And I've got life! Yeah, eat it! Okay, I went way too early on that. And, like, I guarantee you, if Royal hadn't done what he could and put this injury on the darn thing, like, it's an obvious weak spot. But is it one that we would have had even remotely if not for Royal? I mean, I can do this. So you got this thing here, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with it. Yeah, don't know what I'm supposed to do with it. Okay, I got it. I figured it crap out. Okay, well, I lost like all my life figuring it out, but I did it. You're gonna be over there. You're gonna be horrifying, but I don't care because I wrecked you in the face. Give me that because there's no way that's the end. You had to swing off the nut because you couldn't wrench it. It was a ship? What? Yeah, I know! There are problems! Okay, well, I'm gonna shoot you because you're big and mean. Is that a wrench? Does he have a wrench? He's got a wrench! I mean, I want that life, but now it's way over there. I know it, 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 I know it! Got it. Oh, crap! Like the friggin', what are you? The intergalactic mechanic? Okay, there, I did it. I killed him. Gotta summon the most annoying enemy that I can never remember how to kill. I'll take that life. It's the dark ones, right? Or am I actually getting it? Oh, I have full life now, that's cool. I'm looking the wrong way. I'm smart. I missed! Okay, I think I just have to actually get rid of that one. Yeah, I had to get rid of all of them. Intergalactic bird mechanic. So I don't know what you being on electric actually does for us mechanically. But I don't want to be standing next to you, Like, he does that, and then he summons dudes. Yeah, I'm just gonna not stand next to you, and you're probably gonna jump at me or something. No, 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 you don't do that, don't do that. No, you piece of crap. You cut that out this instant. Where am I? Where am I? I found me. I mean, thankfully it's missing a hand. That changes things a little. Where are you coming? Hurt a little, but that's okay, because I got a lot of life. Somehow. Not sure how I have a lot of life. Yeah, I get it. I get it. Jeez. Ew. Punching God in the face. Dude! Dude! Oh boy, okay, wow. Where do I even start with that one? How we get the cast? So, I do know... Whew. You know what? No, I'm not even going to talk about that. Let's just talk about how friggin' great this game was. Like, I went into this, obviously, knowing that I'm a big fan of Konjac, and I'm a big fan of the games that Konjac has made. Noi 2 Love 2 is still probably just about my favorite game of all time. And given all of that, I, of course, was in huge anticipation for this game coming out. And given like how much anticipation I had for this, given that, admittedly, I was setting myself up for disappointment, because how is something that you've been waiting for like 8 years by probably your favorite developer, how is that ever going to... How is that ever going to measure up what you imagine it's going to be? Oh, I'm happy for them. So, I just want to point out, I like that Konjac has to pad the end credits with the actual in-game cast. Because there was one developer! One guy! Oh, so he made it out. So, given my expectations for the game, and given what I wanted out of a game, I feel like what I wanted... Well, I'll say, this game ended up being way heavier than I expected it to be. Way heavier than I expected it to be. Like, Konjac's games have always had... You could tell there was a little bit of weight to them, even if there wasn't anything overtly stated. You could feel that maybe the universe, just the style of storytelling could carry a lot of weight, even if it didn't necessarily. And I think I got a little scared partway through this game that it was going to be too heavy. Because generally that kind of game isn't the kind of game I especially enjoy. I just want to run around and punch gods in the face. That's what I'm signing up for. And I think as far as personal preference goes, it did get a little heavy for my tastes. But that's personal preference. I will say, given the actual... And just a heads up, I'm going to talk for like a long time, just so y'all know. I'm not doing anything else this video, I'm just talking. So if you don't want to hear me talk, that's the end. And I will say though, given the actual story in this, the story, and specifically the characters, were amazing. Absolutely amazing. And I know there's been kind of a lot of hate towards Elro specifically. And I will be the first to admit that Elro has made some bad decisions and is not necessarily the best person in the world. But I will also say he is without a doubt the most human of all of these this entire cast. I've felt, honest to goodness, I felt a real connection to Elro specifically. And I say that because everything that he did, every bad decision that he made, every stupid things that he's done is something that I'm sure I've done before. I mean, obviously I haven't, like, killed anybody or anything, but, like, that I know of. But, I say that because he was impulsive. He did like, when he killed Gray, that wasn't a thought-out thing that he did. He didn't plan that out. He didn't go, this is a good decision that's going to affect everybody. That was wholly a bad decision that I'm sure he, in retrospect, would probably say was a bad decision. But he got caught by the impulse. Can I hit a button? Anything happen if I hit a button? Yay! But when you get frustrated, when you get emotional, you get impulsive. You do things and say things without planning them out. I know I've been frustrated before, and you just start going. Like, when I get angry, you just start going. You're not thinking through what you're doing. You're not like adequately weighing the pros and cons of something. You get into an argument with somebody, and honestly, even when you get to the point that they have, like, when you've been arguing for something for so long, and they finally give a little piece of evidence that, like, completely shoots you down, you don't just give in. Like, you're too engrossed in this argument. You're too stuck in your position. Me, anyway. Like, I know when I'm that, like, worked up, like, you can prove me wrong 100% of the way, and I'm still gonna, like, try to weasel my way around that argument some. And, like, I can look at... give me, like, 4 minutes to calm my crap, and I can look back and go, no, I was just wrong. And what I should have done was just say, yes, you have a fair point. I am incorrect, and I apologize for this whole mess. But, like, when you're worked up in the moment, you don't do that. You may even realize that you're wrong. But you're just too busy going. And that kind of bad decision that you make at the moment, that's what I see in Elro. And the thing is, a lot of people don't have that moment, like 4 minutes later, when they go, no, I was wrong, and I should have said something differently. I will go apologize now. A lot of people don't have that moment. A lot of the times people won't get to that point. They'll stay stuck in that position forever. And I think that's where Elro is. He perhaps won't recognize that he's made a bad decision. He will, if it's brought up, he will just dive right back into where he was and argue that it was a good decision. that doesn't make him a good person. And I feel like, especially when we're playing games, we see everything from a very neutral point of view. We can weigh the pros and cons, we can make judgment calls easily when we're watching a cutscene about what's right and what's wrong, and what should be done. When you're not emotional, when you're not worked up, when you're not in the moment. And that's why games typically don't write characters like that. They don't write characters like Elro. Because for the most part, we see that, and in a moment of complete neutrality, I'll say also it helps that I find I'm just a really, really good judge of character, and that's also something not everyone has, so maybe that's affecting this too, I don't know. But most people will see that and say, yes, he's just a bad person, and that's the end of the story, because he's making bad decisions. And I think that's typically why, when characters are written for games, they're typically written in a way that appeals to that. If a character is complicated, they have to explain how and why they're complicated. They kind of have to dot their I's and put their periods at the end of every sentence to make sure that you know this character has a lot going on and his decisions aren't made in a clear mindset. And they do that through his dialogue, through his interactions, everything. And that's not realistic. It is much more clear for someone playing a game. And that's where I will say that perhaps, as far as game design goes, what was done with Elro may not have been the best decision, but I will praise it to the ends of the earth for being an amazingly realistic, an amazingly human character. And how this game has handled that has been fantastic. Look at Royal, who, I mean, of course Royal is a huge dork, but like, when you're flying up to the moon, he just has so much respect for you. He just looks up to you so much, and all he can think to say is like, you're great. And I think people say like maybe he was in love with Robin, and like, I don't know, maybe, but like, I don't see it that way. I see it as just a monumental amount of respect, and perhaps a bit of adoration. And where, like, he didn't even have the words. He didn't know what to say. He couldn't articulate himself. Like, he just said, like, you're great. You're so great, like, 400 times. And he was talking on about how everything wrong that Mother did, and what he wanted to do to try to be a better person, and to try to rule in a better way. And like everything that showed what a lot of character growth for him, a lot of maturing for him. And what we saw was he still lost his temper against the Star Worm for not getting the respect that he thought he deserved, which is the same problem that he's had the entire game. And I think having that come up after his outward moment of maturity and growth is really important, because it shows something that's very true, which is that you can realize what's right and wrong. You can conclude that things are right and wrong, that you've done things that are correct, that you've believed things that are incorrect. You can realize all of that. And you can know that the things that I have done have been bad decisions and I shouldn't do them anymore. But it's not that simple. Who you are cannot change that simply, just with a realization. In fact, it may never change. You can do everything you can, but a simple realization isn't going to change, at your core, who you are. That's something you have to work at for years and years. And even then you may not be able to, but heaven help you, you try. Man! Like, I've already talked about the gameplay in this game and how absolutely smooth the controls are. I think the Metroidvania nature of the game was really great, still with the secrets hidden everywhere, with an overarching story, though, that kept you going and kept you moving, so you could be really invested in that story. And the story didn't just prattle on. One thing that really bothers me about games is when characters talk just to hear themselves talk. And I don't mean like, oh, a character likes to talk and likes to hear themselves talk. I'm talking when the game developers like to make everyone talk so they can hear their own dialogue. That bothers me to no end. And this game handled it all perfectly. Nothing stretched on for longer than it needed to. It hit every point right as it needed to, and it said enough to make its point. So you never felt wanting, it never felt rushed. But it also felt like something was always happening, something was always going. And I know Konjak is a very big fan of Metroid Fusion, and I know I am not. But I can see where this game was done in that similar style, where it's a Metroidvania, but it still leads you along a fairly linear path with an overarching story bringing you along for the ride. And I will say, though I hate how Fusion handled that, I love how this game handled it. I think the sprite work, the animation, was all absolutely amazing. All the bosses, as huge and menacing as some of them were all amazing. There are very few times that I feel like perhaps something wasn't as clear as it should have been, and some of that, of course, is due to that I'm, of course, recording and playing blind, so my attention is diverted 6 ways from Sunday, and I'm missing very obvious things. Missing something like when Mina said, "Hey, yo, how about this?" And she said it like 8 times before I went, oh, she's saying something important that I should listen to. Like, I get that. Very minor things otherwise, though, like maybe something against, what was his name? Fitzroy? Like that thing. Like, there were a few, not many, 1 or 2 times that I actually stopped and went like, what do you even want me to do right now? Very few times, though. For the most part, the bosses were all handled fantastically. The puzzles were all fantastic. Given how few tools you really have to deal with, there was a huge variety of puzzles to work your way around. And it really kept getting around interesting without being able to just blaze your way through. Something as simple as that wrench as the mechanic, and you can do so much. And the way the friggin' bird at the end had a wrench! The weapon of the bird gods! And as I will say, as heavy as this game got, especially after especially like on the moon and like in returning to the planet after that, for as heavy as that got, this game legitimately messed me up. And I don't mean like, oh no, my feels. I mean like, that evening, I was garbage. That whole evening. And probably a good portion of the next day. And I was terrified that, like, this is where this game's going. And not like... And some of that was because of... I mean, some of that was because of my own problems, which, like, admittedly, I've got my own problems that I deal with. And some of that was me finding fault in myself in certain ways, and really digging myself into a hole over a lot of things. It was a rough, like, couple days for me after that. And I was really worried that because I knew I was at effectively at the end of the game, I was really worried that we were going to beat the game, and that was the final taste that was going to be in my mouth, and I was going to leave this game and the amazing things it's done, and the amazing writing for the characters, and just everything about this game that was so amazing, and I was going to leave it with a real sour taste in my mouth, and a generally, like, negative opinion. I was genuinely scared of that, because I knew how much amazing this game had done. And admittedly, over the next couple days, I did kind of bring myself back up, and by the time I got back into it again and started running around to collect the items, I was feeling a little bit better. But I was still expecting, like, a real crap ending. But I don't know, man. All those friggin'... We punched a god in the face! We got to see the friggin' mechanic bird come out with his notebook and his papers and just yelling about, like, friggin' ivory being low. Like, that took this huge, everything is so horrendously heavy, and made it not. And amazing. And then all the trees sprouting up was the best feeling. I was really worried that I was going to leave this game with a bad feeling in my mouth. But I think I'm going to step away thinking this game was as amazing as it is. Man, this game is great. Go play this game! Go buy it and play it and give Konjak all your money. Now, I will say the ending changes ever so slightly, not drastically, ever so slightly, if you max Mina's relationship, which is, I think I got like one question wrong or something. And that phase where you actually had to fight the various shadows also changes. I think one of them was also your father. I know Elrose, that very first one, Elrose, you saw the sunflowers in the back? I'm pretty sure that means I maxed him, and it does not matter if you max him or not, he will still just friggin' walk slowly at you and attack you, no matter what. Which, at this point, I guess kind of shows Robin's opinion of Elro. But yeah, I do know those phases are all made much easier. You see all the sunflowers in the background, and there's a little bit of extra dialogue in the end if you max Mina's specifically, as well as the actual end phase. The boss fight is a little bit different, and I feel like that is the ending that you all deserved. So this here was an amazing time, but it was me showing you an average ending for an average playthrough. The kind of ending someone would get on their first run through when they don't know what they're doing. It may take me a little bit of time, 18 hours or so, but I want to show you the real finale that we've all built up for. That may take a little bit of time, as I mentioned, so I'm going to start into a different project next, and whenever I get this done, and that's when I'll bring it to you guys. I hope you've enjoyed my Let's Try of Iconoclasts. Until next time, everyone.